With the run of movies in Hindi cinema being more or less dreadful after Pathaan, everyone's eyes were set on Tu Jhoothi Main Makkaar directed by Luv Ranjan. A director who has created a niche for himself in the carefree and fun romantic comedies that have done exceptionally well commercially. Even though Ranbir Kapoor believes that this might be his last outing with this genre, thinking that he has matured and should channelize his energies in other genres rather than playing the lovable boy next door, there was genuine curiosity and hype that this film developed owing to the chart-busting music that kept on getting posted as the release date of the film drew closer. Even though this genre has been attempted in recent years with hit and miss films like Jug Jug Jio and Meenakshi Sundareshwar and a colossal misfire like Love Aajkal, there was a genuine concern from the Hindi-speaking audience whether this genre might be dead, but here we are with a pleasantly entertaining and holistic package that I can't wait to discuss with all of you. Tu Jhoothi Main Makkaar, without giving anything away and sticking to the beats of the trailer, focuses on Mickey and Tinny, played by Ranbir Kapoor and Shraddha Kapoor respectively, who are attracted to one another as they meet on their friend's bachelor trip in Spain. Infatuation and physical attraction leads to them thinking about a probable future together, only for things to get out of hand as their respective families get involved. How the movie ties into Mickey's side hustle of assisting people with breakups, resulting in a clash of egos and wit, wherein the title of the movie makes even more sense, forms the basic premise of this commercial Bollywood biggie. I've tried to keep it as vague as possible because there is a lot to explore in this movie versus what the trailer gave away. So getting right into it, here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Tu Jhoothi Main Makkaar in theaters or not. The underwhelming aspects. Decibel levels and motor mouth running gags. This film starts right off the bat in being unapologetically itself, and by that I mean Luv Ranjan has no qualms in hiding that this movie is going to be pitched at a dramatic, loud, full-on desi avatar, and this takes time for you to get warmed up to. The pitch is set in stone the moment Dimple Kapadia appears on the screen. She is helter-skelter, running through the house, shouting and admonishing everyone in her sight, especially Mickey with respect to business dealings. The decibel levels are high and you take time to get used to this sometimes shrieking tone of delivery. Decibel levels aside, I also want to talk about a misconception that people have regarding the expressive nature with which Ranbir and Shraddha are interacting with one another. Some perceive it to be overdoing it, but essentially both the characters play their part in presenting a facade to one another. A shield before the vulnerability and surrender to someone gets exposed. So their initial interactions are filled with theatrics, but it's intentionally so. Think of it as the sequences in Corsica and Tamasha, and the real compelling narrative commences when reality sets in the city. The one aspect of the film, however, that I just can't defend is the long-running motor mouth-like rant delivery that is sprinkled throughout the movie's screenplay. This is the case of characters talking without taking a breath, in the Karthikarian monologue way to express their resentment or irritation to the current circumstances. And what is once amusing becomes tiring when utilized too often in the film. Basi even frustratingly tells everyone, "Koi se chup karwao yaar," when Ranbir is on a rant, and I could not agree more. This case of rambling like someone will interject while you're giving your statement so you say it without any pauses or even breathing is a constant gag that I felt became forced by the end of the film. Faulty logic. Even though I can't really dwell deep on this particular point of the film, but this is purely from the perspective of if you are the audience that puts their pragmatic and logical hat for a movie like this. If you technically look at the premise and the battle of wit that carries on between Ranbir Kapoor and Shraddha Kapoor in the film, the situation itself is faulty from a basic logic standpoint. The only parallels that I can create is think of Amanda Bynes in She's the Man or Clark Kent in the Superman movies. The disguise is the result of such low effort that you wonder why the characters don't catch on. You let it go because the films are enjoyable, and your pragmatic mind will create the same arguments with this film of why aren't the characters catching on to something that is so obvious. And without further expanding anymore, I'll leave it at that. The good. Exceptional music album and apt for the screenplay. I had noticed that people became so apathetic to the beats of recently released Hindi movies and their predictable screenplays that the music of the film would genuinely be indications for the audience to take a break from the film and scroll on their phones. This is after ages in the commercial market that I have tapped my feet, looked in awe of the choreography and had genuine fun whenever the movie transitioned to song and dance. The quintessential Bollywood commercial genre that celebrates music, color and shaking a leg, and Preetham proves yet again why he is one of the best in the business. The introduction shot of Mickey in Cyber Hub Gurgaon, the seamless transition to Pyar Hota Kai Baar Hai where Ranbir is at his effortless foot tapping best. What's crazier though is that the makers have kept the most massy dance number for you to experience on the big screen. Titled Maine Pee Rakhi Hai showcases Shraddha Kapoor looking and dancing like an absolute dream, and Ranbir also joining the party. I think the weakest link in the music album is Show Me the Tumka, both from a song and choreography standpoint, and the moment you thought that this Luv Ranjan flick is going to be frivolous and mostly on the surface, Preetham hits the emotional quotient bang on with O Bedardiya. The music album is one of the major reasons for the enjoyable watch that this film is. Second half supremacy, especially the family and relationship dynamics. As I previously said, the movie and its pitch really demands you to be invested from the word go. So it does take time for you to get used to its delivery and balls to the wall pot boiler treatment. But in my opinion, the movie becomes the most thought-provoking and compelling when the respective families and the relationships our two leads share with them gets explored. This is a refreshing take on the heterosexual relationship by Luv Ranjan and co-writer Rahul Modi. Because unlike Love's previous films where the women are playing conniving, scheming and constantly manipulative vamps, there is nuance brought to the table with what one expects in relationships and whether one is compatible regarding the same. The writing masks the layered discussion with many gags and a play of deception between the two leads. But when the conversations get real, it doesn't lead to making any sex the hero or villain. It becomes a topic of one's individual thought and whether one fits perfectly in one's puzzle. This, I think, was a far more mature portrayal and discussion of relationships than ever attempted by Luv Ranjan, who usually resorts to creating a villain that the men persevere against. The supporting cast. I thoroughly enjoyed the supporting cast of the film, even though Dimple Kapadia slightly starts her role in a very overdramatic and shrill fashion. She really does portray the natural maternal instincts with great conviction, especially in the second half. The grandmother has the most effortless gags in the film, reminding Tinny of not fully committing to touching her feet or just exclaiming regarding Mickey's actions कि बड़ी माड़ी हरकत की है. The niece played by Anayat Verma is a natural like many of her performances. Her making a peg of Appy Fizz in the corner or just worried about her share in the family business is hilarious to witness. It would be a crime, however, not to talk about Bussy as Mickey's best friend Dabbas, and he is a natural in front of camera. You assume he would be the good-for-nothing friend, but Bussy becomes the voice of reason in this movie, wishing for his best friend to let go of his ego when things go out of hand. Him shouting at Mickey at the golf course, hyperventilating about his wife's pregnancy, or at the event hilariously saying, "Jo yahan doctor nahi hai, khana khane jao," really makes me think that this is the start of many Bussy performances in feature films. The real surprise is Boney Kapoor, who absolutely kills it with his laid-back attitude and nonchalant delivery in the climax. Strengths of the lead pair and the Luv Ranjan universe. I worried whether the movie will eventually give me an artificial experience of every frame looking pitch perfect and airbrushed to the point of not being relatable like Shehzada. But this is far from it. This is such a good looking film. Great locations, actors styled perfectly, and the lead pair looks great together. I think I fell in love with Shraddha Kapoor watching this film, not only looking drop dead gorgeous but understanding the assignment of the pitch at which a commercial rom-com is presented. When it comes to the battle of wits, her cheeky attitude with Ranbir slowly transitioning to doubt when the family dynamic sets in, it's done with real conviction. Ranbir, however, is in killer form, not only breaking a leg on the dance floor with ease but delivering especially in the dramatic moments of this movie. The only time I noticed a difference in range and ability as actors is when both the actors have a dramatic scene together. You could clearly see that Ranbir hit every note perfectly, whereas Shraddha is slightly inconsistent when vulnerable and emotional. There is some deep pain within those eyes of Ranbir, and each time reality does set in and he fears facing his worst thoughts, it becomes more obvious to me why he's considered one of the most talented actors we have. Without giving anything away though, I'll say that the Luv Ranjan universe is alive and kicking, and it was filled with meta jokes that accounted for some of the most laugh out loud moments in the theatre. What will be misinterpreted, and climax. I wanted to just also note that a clip from this film will easily be misinterpreted as sexist for the insults that are flung around in the scene, but in context to the film, it truly is effective in getting its point across. If you want to have a spoiler-filled discussion regarding the film, do also let me know in the comments below, because that will be a lot of fun discussing with all of you. The climax of the film, while over the top, packs so many funny moments that you absolutely get invested in the madness that follows. It's the quintessential Bollywood rom-com trope that you don't mind because you didn't expect this film to be any less than that. And after a long time, despite the faulty logic that my pragmatic mind does constantly bring up, I missed this genre in Hindi cinema, and I'm sure that so did many of you. Problem ye hai ki there was barely a time where I can laugh, tap my feet to songs, be emotionally invested, and think in retrospect that there was a good day out in the cinemas. Problem ye hai ki that the Hindi speaking audience has waited for far too long just to have a good time. And I'm glad that this movie delivered in so many of these fronts. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Tu Jhoothi Main Makkaar. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.